For most of the 20th century, the answer to any naval crisis in the world was the same. Send a carrier group. 200,000 tons of American steel, air power, and precision weapons, arriving within days of any flashpoint on Earth. It was the ultimate deterrent, the ultimate statement of power, and for decades, no navy on the planet had a credible answer to it. Then, something changed. Starting quietly, then accelerating at a pace that stunned Western intelligence analysts, one country began building warships with a very specific mission in mind. Not to rival American carriers directly, but to deny them. To make the ocean around China too dangerous, too costly, too lethal for any carrier group to operate freely. That country is China. And today, we are looking at the 3 warships at the heart of that strategy, starting with number 3, and building toward the one that keeps U.S. Navy planners awake at night. Before we get to the ships, you need to understand how extraordinary this story actually is. Because 30 years ago, the People's Liberation Army Navy, the PLAN, was not a blue water force. It was a coastal defense fleet. Diesel submarines, small frigates, missile patrol boats, ships designed to operate close to shore, not to project power across oceans. Then Beijing made a decision. It decided it needed a navy capable of operating far beyond its coastlines, and it committed to building one with a speed and scale that history rarely sees. What followed was the most ambitious naval expansion since the Second World War. Aircraft carriers, nuclear submarines, amphibious assault ships, and a new generation of surface combatants designed not just to match Western technology, but to leapfrog it. Now here's the number that should make you stop and think. At its peak, China was launching more warship tonnage per year than the entire U.S. shipbuilding industry combined. Not over a decade, per year. But raw numbers only tell part of the story. The real question is quality. Are these ships actually capable of threatening a U.S. carrier group? That is what we are here to find out. The answer begins with a destroyer, a very capable one, but one that was only the starting point. Meet the type 052Kui. Known in NATO reporting as the Luyang III class. If you have seen images of the modern People's Liberation Army Navy operating at sea, this is the ship you have seen most often. And there is a reason for that. China has built more than 20 of them. They are ubiquitous. The Type 052D displaces around 7,500 tons, which puts it firmly in destroyer territory. It carries 64 vertical launch system cells, capable of firing a mix of surface-to-air missiles, anti-ship missiles, and land attack cruise missiles. It has a modern AESA radar, a main gun, torpedo tubes, and a helicopter hangar. On paper, it is a capable, well-rounded warship. But here is where it gets interesting. Naval analysts in China looked at the Type 052D and decided it was not enough, not for what they had in mind. It lacked the sensor suite, the power generation, and the weapons capacity to serve as the command ship for a carrier strike group. It could not provide the kind of wide-area missile defense that a carrier battle group demands, so they used it as a baseline. And then they did something extraordinary. They doubled the displacement. They nearly doubled the weapons load. They added an entirely new generation of sensors and electronics. And they built the result at a pace that left Western analysts struggling to keep count. The Type 052D is still in production, still being assigned to new strike groups, but it is no longer the most dangerous surface combatant China operates, not even close. The ship that replaced it at the top of the hierarchy is something in a different class entirely, the Type 055. Designated by NATO as the Renhai class. And when you first look at the numbers, one question immediately comes to mind. Why is this classified as a destroyer? At a full load displacement, of 12,000 to 13,000 tons. The Type 055 is the size of a cruiser. It is larger than the U.S. Navy's Ticonderoga class, the gold standard of American surface combatants. It carries 112 vertical launch system cells, nearly twice what the Type 052D carries. Its integrated mast and stealth hull design reduce its radar cross-section dramatically. It is powered by 4 gas turbines capable of pushing this massive ship past 30 knots. But the number that matters most is 112. Because inside those VLS cells, the Type 055 can carry a combination of long-range air defense missiles, anti-ship missiles, land attack cruise missiles, and anti-submarine weapons. It is not specialized. It is designed to do everything, at long range simultaneously. Its primary role in the People's Liberation Army Navy Order of Battle is to serve as the AIR defense commander for a Chinese carrier strike group, to create a protective bubble of anti-aircraft and anti-missile coverage over the entire formation. Sound familiar? That is exactly what the Ticonderoga cruiser does for American carrier groups. Now here is the detail that caused genuine alarm in Western naval circles. China did not build 1 or 2 of these ships as a technology demonstrator. As of today, 10 Type 055s are in active service. More are under construction. The target is at least 16. But even the Type 055, for all its capability, operates on the surface. It is visible. It can be targeted. The most dangerous ship in this story is the one you cannot see. In February 2025, a satellite passed over the Huludao shipyard on the coast of northern China. The images it captured were immediately flagged by analysts at multiple Western intelligence agencies, because what the satellite showed was not a single submarine. It was 4 of them, Type 093B nuclear-powered attack submarines, at various stages of construction and fitting out. 7 to 8 Type 093B boats are now estimated to be in service. To put that in context, that is more nuclear-powered attack submarines than China built in the entire previous 30 years, combined. The Type 093 is China's primary nuclear-powered attack submarine, the Shang class. It has 6 torpedo tubes capable of firing both anti-submarine torpedoes and anti-ship missiles. But the B variant adds something that fundamentally changes its threat profile. Vertical launch system cells. 12 of them. Confirmed by satellite imagery showing hatches open on a docked boat. What goes in those vertical launch system cells? The YJ-20 hypersonic anti-ship ballistic missile. A weapon capable of striking targets at ranges between 1,500 and 2,000 kilometers. From a submarine, silently, with no warning until impact. Think about what that means for a carrier group. A surface ship can be detected by radar. An aircraft can be intercepted. But a nuclear submarine running silent at depth, carrying hypersonic missiles? The carrier group may not know it is there until weapons are already in the air. The Type 093B is not yet as quiet as a Virginia-class American submarine. Analysts acknowledge the gap still exists, but it does not need to be perfect. It needs to be good enough. And with a new, larger, quieter successor already spotted at the same shipyard, that gap is narrowing. Now step back and look at all 3 of these warships together, because individually, each one is impressive. Together, they form something more significant, a layered, interlocking system designed with a single objective. The Type 052D forms the outer screen, numerous, distributed, capable of filling the ocean with radar coverage and surface-to-air missiles. The Type 055 sits at the center of the strike group, managing the air battle, coordinating the defensive envelope, and carrying the long-range strike payload that can reach out hundreds of kilometers. And the Type 093B lurks beneath all of it, invisible. carrying weapons that compress the reaction time of any adversary to near zero. This is not a coastal defense fleet. This is a blue water power projection force, one capable of operating far from Chinese shores, sustained by the People's Liberation Army Navy's growing fleet of replenishment ships, and backed by shore-based aviation and missile systems that extend the defensive perimeter far out to sea. What makes naval planners pay close attention to this is not just the quality of any single platform, it is the speed of production, the sheer industrial scale behind it. A shipbuilding capacity that has demonstrated it can outpace anything the Western world currently puts in the water. The U.S. Navy is responding. The DDG-X next-generation destroyer program is in development. The Constellation-class frigate is entering early production. New Virginia-class submarines continue to roll out of American yards. The competition in naval technology has never been more consequential. But one question remains, and it is the one that matters most. Has the era of the unchallenged carrier group finally passed? The 3 ships you have seen today represent something that did not exist 30 years ago. A navy built not just to defend a coastline, but to contest control of open ocean. The Type 052D, the Type 055, the Type 093B. 3 platforms, 3 layers of threat, 1 coherent strategy. Whether you find this alarming or fascinating, one thing is beyond dispute. The age when one nation could send a carrier group anywhere on Earth and face no credible opposition is over. A new era of naval competition has begun, and the ships that define it are already in the water. If you want to know which other naval programs are reshaping the balance of power at sea, the next video is already waiting for you.